a video call and say, hey, why don't you come to Paris to share about that? And she just said yes. So it's a privilege. It's the first time we have her today here in Paris, in Europe. I don't know if it's a premiere in Europe, but it's a premiere in Paris, let's say. Priscilla, and the panel she brought to us, this is going to be taped, film. We're going to cut it and put it on YouTube soon, because I'm sure it's going to be so dense that you want to hear and hear it again. So enjoy, have fun. Priscilla, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you so much for the invitation. I would say thank you so much for everybody who has been here. I can see a lot of the faces I already know from the community of the Rethinking the Wine industry, new faces as well. It'd be amazing. Thank you so much for all of you guys being here today. It's been a pleasure. So Rethinking the Wine industry, I just wanted to give it a little bit of introduction about actually what it is. So we're actually a community. We've been the last 2 years, we thinking about the wine industry. It needed to have another different approach. You need to redefine what wine it is. We needed to think about the business models. We needed to understanding what we're going to have, because we live in a world with uncertainties. Everything is changing so quickly, and how we actually deal with this, how we can prepare people, how we can actually be more adaptable on this environment. So we're building the Rethinking Wine is a platform. Is actually, if you see other QR code, it's going to come in very soon. We're launching the platform now, so with just for members who actually wanted to rethink the wine and to wanted to build this thing together. We're actually building a collective intelligence for the wine industry. We believe in collaboration. We believe when you're working together, we're actually making a better impact in the society, in the world, and then we share success where everybody actually win and will play the wine industry community. So by the way, I need to be quickly because this is going to take us very long. I have a very good panelist I'd like to introduce to you all. So this is me. I've been doing these things since 2024. So I just see this was not even a community. I started with very questions like why are we doing the same things again if it's not working. So we started with a newsletter. These newsletters became sadly very quickly engaged with a lot of the people in the industry. We have like 300,000 views in the first year. So we started to get a lot of the sign-ups, and then that is how we started the LinkedIn, we started WhatsApp group, and then that's how we started to build this network of the people who we want to build in the wine industry, who we want to innovate, who we want to keep and grow in the wine industry, who we want to move it forward. And that is how I'm meeting all those guys here with me. So this is the all guys actually doing things in the wine industry, moving forward in the wine industry in different sectors. The first one here is Grégoire in, in French. So his is actually amazing because he has been so focused on helping a lot of the startups in the wine industry, on the wine tech, try to bring in all those people who we want to innovate to actually have it found to be able to innovate the industry. He has been doing a great job to find those people, help them to build a business and impact your society. So he's here to help us to understand better how the tech industries actually play the game in the wine industry, how important for us to understanding, and how they impact as well in the consumer behavior. So Greg, he's just going to represent it on this technology side of the wine industry we need to understand. So Julio is a great friend of mine. We have been working together for a long time because my background is Brazilian. Live in Australia, but Brazilian originally. Julio is actually one of the biggest names in Brazil. He's the national vice president for the Brazilian Association of Sommeliers. He's doing a great job to develop the wine industry in Brazil. He's actually being activity representing, but also not just that. He's actually professional. He's a psychoanalyst, so he understands people's mind better than ourselves. And today we want to talk about this meaning and purpose because that is something what the wine is actually missing. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, and we actually wanted to make sure we have someone understand about wine, but also how people thinking beyond what we have been told. And Yolanda would like you to get this presentation with Yolanda. One of the reasons is because we needed to have everybody talking. It's not just the bursting toppy ones, it's the mostly older people. We need to actually have this Gen Z, millennials, everybody coming together, collaborating together, have a vision, have a voice. So Yoland is going to represent the Gen Z. What is she actually thinking about? Is she's actually working already internationally. We represent so many Spanish wineries under her project manager strategist in the wine marketing. But she's 24 years old. She's already been growing so quickly in her career. I'm very proud that she's actually accepting this as well. I know she's very nervous, but she's going to be fine. But yeah, so she's going to represent her views about the values, about what she feels like with these new generations come along, and how we can help us to understanding these bridge generations we needed to go through. So that's, thank you all for that as well. So the first question I wanted to do for the panelists today is like the wine industry is easily, we can understand the things is not working anymore. We see a lot of people don't really big business is starting to struggle more and more in declining, but it's still keeping doing the same things. So my question is, if the wine industry keeping doing the same thing, so where are we actually heading? What's going to be, just to make sure we understanding the path, how we can bring clarity today to the audience? Please, I would like to have a short sentence for everybody to answer that question.
Okay, I start. Well, I mean, we all know, because we are here today, that if the wine industry is not changing, it's not gonna crash, but it's gonna really have a very, very difficult time, both upstream in the viticulture and downstream meeting the consumer needs. I'm gonna maybe take 1 minute on it. Upstream, climate change, lack of labor availability in some regions of the world, like in California for sure, but not only. Put a lot of pressure on winemakers to adjust their practices, to equip themselves with, more robotic type of devices for their agriculture, because they need to do the same or more with less people. Okay, so that's enormous pressure on them, as well as all the events we can see due to the climate change, whether it's the drought, whether it's more frost bites and stuff like that. So there's a lot of pressure, to make the wine. And then they need to sell the wine, but guess what? People are drinking less and less wine, as we know. And there's a lot of other products on the market that they can replace wine with. So the pressure is huge on that side. Overproduction, change of generation that we're going to talk about, and new products. So it's a big challenge to find your audience, to find your product, to change your product sometimes. To be sure that you can go through that storm that the industry is facing at the moment.
Julio, can you speak a little bit here?
Yes, I can. I forgot my crystal ball, so I don't think I'm able to talk about the future. But if you think what's happening, if it was 10 years ago, my answer would be, the question is not where is the wine going or the wine industry going, but it could be an affirmation. The wine industry is not going anywhere, it's just staying. And staying, that's the problem, because the world is moving, the consumer is moving, and you should move as well. And I think there are many movements. And one thing that should be a concern in the wine industry is that in this moment of uncertainty that we live not only in the wine world, but in the world in general, there are many prophets, many people saying what's going to happen, and many people with too much certainty in what they're saying, but nobody knows. I think we should embrace the unknown, embrace that we have many possibilities, and without that maybe it can change. But if we stick to the prophets, not prophets, and in the past, probably something close to ruin.
And I think that the answer is very clear here. We cannot keep doing the same things because they're clearly not working. One of the solutions is listening to the new generations, of course, what they can offer, what they have to say, because they can change a lot, and making us part of the solution because we are not the problem. Also changing our mindset, the whole mindset, because the wine industry looks to be in a wave of pessimism, like negativity, and that way we are not gonna achieve nothing. So we just gotta take action, but from a more positive perspective.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Three different points of view here. And I agree, you need to be part of the solution. Exactly right. So my first is like we actually have three topics. One is specifically for each of your guests. The first one we're going to talking about purpose and meaning. What is the purpose of wine? What is the meaning of wine? I think we're not talking about those things, and I think it's very important. And for that, I would like to invite Julia to answer my first question, but also the guys, Greg and Yolanda, I'd like you add some comments as well. So this is a debate, it's a discussion. It's not like we have all the right answers. It's actually we have different points of view, so make us rethinking and thinking about the future. So that's the purpose of this chat. But my questions for you, Julio, is as you understand people's minds, studying a lot of your...
Just supposed to.
So, what's the biggest gap you see between what people are buying and what the wine world thinks it's selling? And if you can share actually a concrete example, so that is actually people understand exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, first of all, I like to twist a bit your question because, when you got a psychoanalysis training, we stick some to one word, and with one word you try to twist things in order to amplify our ability to think and to feel and to live ultimately. So I'll take this word gap. If you think about the gap of what we as industry are selling and what people are buying, we should think about this word gap not as a hole that must be closed. Because when you use the word gap, it seems that the question I have already the answer. We should close the gap. And I think that some people are trying to do that, trying to close the gap to the consumer. Maybe trying to reach an ancient time when people went to the winery to buy wine, or that in the countryside that many people produced their wines in order to drink. But if we think the gap as something that's very human, something that really makes us human, even in the neurological level, from one neuron to another, there is a gap. And in this gap, that there's nothing there, supposedly, that there is exchange, and that's formed the synapses that finally makes our minds. So, if we think in the gap, not as something that's supposed to be closed, that we're supposed to think exactly like the consumer, or even worse, what we've been trying to do in education for so long, and as I work with education, I can tell you, with education and with consultancy, mainly for wineries to enter in the Brazilian market, so they try to close the gap. But if you think the gap, so if it's a gap you try to close, either you try to transform yourself in what the consumer wants, so you lose identity. The second thing is the worst thing, that you try to put in the mouth of the people the things you think. Say, when the consumer say, I don't like your wine, say, oh no, you didn't understand the concept. No, but they didn't like it. No, you have to study the terroir, geology and stuff. That's even worse. So, try to close the gap, I don't think is a solution. But if we think the gap as a fertile space that we exchange, we don't try to change the other. Not the winery trying to change the consumer, and not supposing to change for the consumer, but to exchange, to build together. that might be something interesting that comes out of it. And I will, if you allow me, I'm going to give two examples. One example is a kind of generality, but it repeats in each wine class I give. Not wine sake classes, beer classes. I always try to focus on professionals or high-involved consumers. So we explain the wine, we taste the wine, we say what people supposed to feel in the wine. We're not caring about what they're feeling, we're just trying to feed them up with the information. And at the end, one question always repeats. What's the best pairing for this wine? What should I eat with this wine? Why that question? What's underneath that question is, I want to be sure that I did the right choice. That I want to know. That's the underlying question. So, people are looking for safety. So there's a good example of what is the gap, actual gap, and how we can work. And another gap, we have Mr. Burki here somewhere, I don't think you but he is the founder of the OIV Master that I did here in France. When he interviewed me for the master, for selection, I couldn't barely speak English, and I spoke no French at the moment, but two very important backgrounds that somebody has to have to do the master is speaking French, is speaking English. But he did the interview in Spanish with me, and he allowed me to enter the master. And he told me, okay, you have 90 days to speak French and English and something. That's not about my story. It's about that gap. That gap that builds us. So we should build bridges on the gap and understand that the gap from me to you, from me to the world, or from me to everything, is that build relationships. And when we introduce ourselves, we introduce not what we are, we introduce what we want to be. I wanted to be the guy that understands the mind. I am not. But I present myself as a psychoanalyst and working in the wine industry. So what I love builds me, the gap builds me. If I think I know everything about the mind, I know enough about wine, suddenly I became a wine star, I don't know nothing and I won't talk too much.
Amazing, well done, Julio. And I love it as co-creation, and you talk a little bit about ego there as well. When you have a lot of the ego, can be actually into your enemy because you stop learning. If you stop learning, you stop growing. And I think that's something we need to be aware about that in the wine industry. So I wanted to ask you just Greg and Yolanda if you have any thoughts to add into this question.
It's a tricky question. I will build on what you mentioned. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of wine, of drinking wine? And for me, it's about togetherness. It's a social beverage. It's something you drink with people to have a good time. So I think the gap we may see at the moment is when do you meet the customers? At which moment? What do they want to drink at that moment? In which format do they want to drink? In a can? Do they want to drink from a pouch? Do they want to drink with a cork? Or what do they want to drink? Which grape do they want to drink? Because that fluctuates. And if you push your wine the way they are, hoping that you're going to find them, you may miss the point completely. Okay, because they have something else in mind. They may want a natural wine tonight, or I don't know. So I think one of the gaps is there is that how do you meet the customers at which moment, which occasion, where they're going to drink the wine. One of the company in our portfolio is called Juice. It's a wine in can, which was launched 2 years ago, I think. And it took them a lot of time to understand who were the consumers, what did they want. And they discovered that the majority of their consumers were women in their 30s on the Tuesday evening. that wanted to open a kind of orange wine in a city. So it took them a lot of time to discover who were their personas, their customers, and then they really made their go-to-market marketing and products geared towards this population to make sure that they gave them an option for that glass of wine on a Tuesday evening in New York.
You talk about diversity, to have diversity in money. Did you want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that most of the consumers are not looking for wine at all, they are looking for the experience that wine makes them feel. So that's very important, right? Because I think that most of the wineries are doing that wrong. They don't convey the message they should, they're just selling a bottle. They're saying that the technical stuff, the winemaking things, those sort of things are not of the interest of most of the consumers. They're just looking to have a good time, to enhance their dinner in a Saturday night or whatever. They want to feel something. They want to share it. As you were saying earlier, connection, very important.
Great answers. Thank you so much. We're going to the topic 2. So we talked about tech now. I have a very interesting question for you, Greg. So we all worry about the world we live in now. So we have these algorithms, like in the social media. We created different realities for everybody. If you wanted to, whatever you wanted to believe, the algorithm is going to make sure you believe. If you ask that to ChatGPT, they're going to say to you, well, you're right. They never say to you they're actually wrong. They actually make you feel so good about yourself. There is no friction there anymore. The friction is not happening anymore. So, and that is something we need to think about at the consumer side, because the algorithm is creating different realities for everybody. So how should we respond, Greg, to these consequences for discovery, trust, and community? Because community is something we need to learn in the wine industry to actually building our business. And I would like it for you to talk me about this, where we have this decentralization word since the social media come along.
I'm going to put a disclaimer to start with. I was not supposed to be on that panel, but the main speaker has missed his flight yesterday in the US, so I replaced him happily. I think I'm going to start with an example that everybody knows in the context of the question is that the biggest community of wine in the world is probably the users of Vivino. And it's the most empty community in the world beside a rating on the bottle. So what could have been an amazing product to put together the wine enthusiast or the amateurs or whoever, anybody that wants to learn about wine. At the end of the day, Vivino is only used 35 or 40 million users. It's only used to put a rating on the bottle and to check that the bottle you're going to buy in the shop or you choose in the store or your friend is serving you is above 4 or below 4. And that's, I think it's very lame because that's not what we want from technology, okay? Vivino as a meaning, it has been instrumental to a lot of other things, but I think the point of community is not there. I haven't seen any decent community in the digital world around wine, at scale, okay? And that's something which is missing completely. And the second point is the algorithm, the recommendation is very poor, very, very poor. I work with a lot of companies that are trying to develop AI sommelier. This is very complex to do, okay? Most of them, 90% of them, when I look at their business model and the prototype, is very basic, okay? So what can I drink with this type of dish? And it's like, anybody in the room can give the same answer. It's a cab or it's a whatever. It doesn't make sense. It's not personalized enough. It's not thought enough. There's no business model behind it, okay? To build, AI recommendation engine takes years because you need millions and millions of data points. So I think part of the tech is not at the level yet where it should be because it's the infancy of AI. That's a reality. We all use ChatGPT or one of the other models, Perplexity and so on. You said it gives us the answer we want to hear. Yeah, sometimes it does. Yeah, of course, it's built like that. But the company which are serious about AI, they are usually 3, 4, 5, 7 years in the making before they release their product. I invested in 2 companies using AI at the core of the business. One in agriculture with satellite images and algorithm. It's a bunch of PhD from Oxford. It took them 5 years to release the product because they needed to build the model behind it. And the other one is Wine Space, which is on the fair in hall number 4. Same story, 4 years of collection of data to be able to build that AI engine, which is taking all the notes you are taking on when you test wine into something which is becoming more objective when you blend all your comments about a specific wine. Those things are complicated. We are not there yet. So it's helping no and yes. Okay, I should give some example. I think if you know how to play the algorithm of TikTok or Instagram or whatever, or Amazon, when you sell something, okay, when you try to reach an audience, those algorithms change every 2 months, 3 months usually. There's a tweak, and so you need to rethink how you're gonna crack the new algorithm so that you can reach your audience, and don't spend a lot of money to acquire your customer, because that's the game is that. To use the tech to reach customers at a low cost. Otherwise, I mean, you burn a lot of cash before you have the first purchase of your product. And some companies are getting very good at that. And one of them is that same company that I was talking about, these guys of Juice in Sweden. Those guys have got a background in digital marketing. Give you an idea, between the months of May and the months of August, to sell their wine in cans, they produce 400 small 10-second video for TikTok and Instagram to make sure that they have enough content that will be always well positioned in front of the customers. And it worked. The sales went crazy. So you need a lot of knowledge as well when it comes to tech to be able to master the technology that helps you to reach to the people.
I'd like to ask Julio and Yolanda if you have any different point of view on this algorithm, technology, trust, community, behavior. Do you want to add something?
No, I'm glad to learn more about everything that Greg was saying, because I think that there is not, in general, in the wine industry, not enough investment in technology, AI. A lot of things could be done, but I think that wineries are way too scared of making changes. They just want to keep doing the same thing. So it goes back to your first question.
I will just add something. I agree with everything, but adding something to that, I would say that technology can be really amazing and can do nothing. And to me, it's worse than doing bad things. Because doing bad things at least change something, so we have to go against and do something good. But if you use technology to do the same thing you used to be, I think maybe something like Jubino. Like we just took the medals and the scores and put in an app. Okay, that's the same thing. Basically the same thing. It's cold, it's not building relationships, it's not building emotions, it's not building memories. It's just trying to calm down the anxiety in a very poor way. Like I have to choose a bottle of wine for tonight. I have no idea. I panic because I have a date tonight, because I have a friend, because my friend studied wine. So I'm panicking. So I look for a medal, for a number, for something that just calms me down. Okay, this bottle is gonna solve my problem. It's not about it. It's about the encounter. It's about the exchange. So that's the thing I wanted to add. New technologies give the chance to do it different. If you use technology to do just the same thing, there's no purpose in that.
I will add something because let's be positive a little bit. Otherwise, it's a bit doom and gloom. I have an example from this morning. I was talking to a winemaker here, big one, French one, that embraced technology for customers. And last year he made an advent calendrier de l'Avent, with 24 small bottles of his wines, different wines, for each day of the month of December. And on each of the label there was a QR code, and when you click the QR code, you had a video of him or somebody working for the winery or somebody else telling a story, because it's about telling story at the end of the day. And those guys sold 35,000 of those advent calendars, which is a new format to reach customers with something very different, with a lot of storytelling. I think that's a very good example of how you get technology to create that small format of bottle, and to also have all the content and the storytelling linked to what this guy wants to convey to the audience. And that's great.
Thank you so much, guys. We're going to talk about the next one now. This one we're going to talk about the generation. Bridging the generations. I think this is something we need to talk about because of the most customers in the wine industry now is aging. We need to involve more people in the wine industry, get some millennials, more Gen Z, more people actually keeping the culture for wine alive. So, and for that I'd like to ask you, Yolanda, now. So, what's the culture habit in the wine industry is currently blocks adaptations, and what is the new habit you should replace it?
The old habits is, well, most of them. Basically, I think that people in the industry are not looking for what we are doing, the way we are interacting. There is a whole new world. The world is changing so fast. The tendencies, the trends, our interests, the way we connect, the way we do basically everything. Now with the technology, everything is changing so quick, and I think that the industry just keeps doing exactly the same. So how do you reach new generations? Just listen to us. What are we doing? Social media, Instagram, TikTok. What are we looking for? Meaning, purpose, connection. We are supposed to be the longest generation because we're supposed to be all the time in social media, by our phones. Yeah, in a way that's true. And I think that wine has the power to change that, because wine is exactly connection, hanging together, making plans, sharing a bottle. That's the thing.
Yeah. Julio and Greg, would you like to add something?
Yeah. Again, kidding a bit with the words. When we think the next generation, if they count next, we should say the generation. So, and I think that the sign that we got all is the moment that we are certain that the next generation is going to ruin and degenerate the world. That's it. Okay, now you're wrong, and we get to that conclusion. But if we are able to build links, to build bridges and exchange, that's what we can see that becomes a fertile space. And the wine can be this kind of transitional object, as we say in psychoanalysis. And I just learned, I was looking for the English word because I didn't know, but chupeta in Portuguese, that has to do with the circle. In English, but we can say pacifier. And it's interesting, I didn't know that before, I just love it. And the wine can be, and the pacifier is a kind of transitional object from the mom's breast to the world. So when the baby leaves the mom and becomes to build his life. And wine can be it's kind of pacifier in the way that is the wine and the whole story had that meaning, being pacifier in a way that helped us to transform. And I was in the work, now I'm resting. I was alone, now I'm with friends. Oh, the opposite. I was with people, I want to have a wine by myself. So the wine can build this kind of transitions. And if you think that the wine can build transition also between generations, I think this can be a nice contribution.
Well, I think we are lucky to be in 2026 and to have so much choice of what we can bring. If I look at myself 20 years ago, what we could have on offer was very traditional, very intimidating. Now, I mean, I can have an orange wine from a natural winemaker from Georgia on a Tuesday evening. I can have a great Burgundy on the Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So I think what that new generation, or this change of generation, brings to the table is creativity. Creativity for the consumer, because you have a lot of choice that we didn't have 20 years ago in this industry. There was a lot of intimidation when wine came into play. So natural wines, as an example, or wine mixed with botanicals and stuff like that did not exist, or to a very small extent years ago. So I think that's what your generation is bringing to the table is that diversity of offering, that diversity of storytelling, because people want to get stories. They want to be excited, they want to know who is behind the wine, what's the story. They love craft. You guys love craft. You don't want industry, you don't want pesticide, you want craft, you want human beings. Authentic, yeah. Exactly. And I think that's the chance that the industry has got at the moment, is that you have more and more of those authenticity and craft people. And the difficulty for the majority of winemakers which are exhibiting here is that they are somehow rooted in tradition. And it's quite difficult to transition to these new offerings. So there's a struggle there for the industry to adjust, and the majority of them will not be able to adjust. I think that's my prediction.
That's a great discussion. Thank you so much. Before we go into questions and answers here, we're going to give the opportunity for everybody to be able to talk with these great mindset people here. I would like you to make some actions to those people. Like, I think there is a lot of talk, but there is not much actions happening in the wine industry, and I want to make sure this is actually finalized, this talk, with some actions. So that is why my final questions for you guys, and if you can be a little bit quickly, because we need to give time for this guys, give you questions for you as well. What is the actions we need to be done? And then my question is, if there is something that we need to keep in the wine industry because it's actually creating value for people, creating value for the consumers, creating practice for the consumers. There is something like we need to keep it because that's creating value to the society and impact to the society. What is something we need to stop? Because this really is actually not building connection, it's not helping us to moving forward. And the other thing that I actually wanted to build in here is what it is we need to build it from zero, right now, tomorrow. What the mentality we need to build from zero. So please give me some action codes, so that's how the whole audience can come from this chat with some actually actionable resource.
I think that we need to start getting out of our comfort zone, start to run small experiments, try new things, different things. Also, hiring young people that can bring new perspective, giving them opportunities, make them part of your team to actually make a change, because Jen said we understand what Jen said works, so it's just like, yeah, be part of it, be part of the solution. One thing to give, I would say, the passion, because I think it's the most amazing thing of this industry, what keep it alive and what, makes us be together. I think the ones that are here is because we just love it and we feel it. And one thing to stop, what we were saying earlier, stop doing the same things.
Great. So is your opinions?
To to start, I think experimenting, I like that word, need to try. And I can see a winemaker here, Laurent David, the head of the wine tech. The winemaker in Bordeaux, very traditional in Saint-Émilion, but he did a non-alc wine, he did a claret, he did a lot of experiments to test the market, to find the consumer, to see how things could be resonating with the audience, with a lot of storytelling behind it. I think that's what, I mean, a lot of winemakers should try to do is experimenting, whatever, the type of wine, the format, and tell stories. I think that's very important. Stop doing the same thing. Simple. Stop all the old school. Want to keep the human factor. I mean, wine is made by people. It's not made by machine. Right? If it's made by machine, it's not good wine. It's made by people, and it's people's decision every day of the year in the vineyard, in the winemaking process, in the marketing departments. Keep the people and show the people behind the wines. I mean, we are all waiting for meeting them and seeing what they have to say.
Amazing. Julio?
I will keep the concept of terroir. I think still is the best source of authenticity and the best source of diversity we can have in the wine world. I will stop thinking that the wine has a value in itself. Stop thinking it means that terroir is only the natural factors that give that wine that aroma and stuff. And I don't think if it starts thinking, but remembering that each traditional wine region is traditional because people love it, or used to love it, or at some point discovered something really new that nobody else did, and people fell in love. And that's the point. People should make people fall in love.
I love the word love. Was a great way to stop this conversation. But I wanted to please give you the opportunity for anyone who have questions for these amazing brains we have here about the things or the topics or the questions, how we move to actions in the wine industry. So feel free for questions. By the way, guys, this is the QR code for our community, so if anybody wanted to join the mailing list, so we're going to invite everybody to come into our community as well, so if anyone interested. Thank you.
I'm just curious, can you hear me? I'm just curious, what's your take on the non-alcoholic wine industry? If you have any data you can share, or you can comment on the market trends, or any thoughts around the non-alcoholic wine industry. Thank you.
Anyone can take about non-alcoholic wines?
I can. Because I'm invested in. And because before I invested any money into non-alc wine, I tried myself more than 250 wines. I put 230 something in the sink because they were absolutely disgusting. That was in the last 2 years, and only a handful of wines were worth. It was, a taste, an experience, and so on. So that industry of non-alc wine is in the infancy again, like AI. The technology is not ready yet to do good non-alc wine. There's exceptions. I'm going to give you some names, and you can go to all 2.2 to try some stuff. But it's really the beginning of that industry. The thing is that non-alc is a value proposition for consumers that don't want to drink every day, that want to try something else, that want to be able to socialize with people, holding the same glass of wine without having to drink a Coke or things like that. But it's just the beginning of that industry. It's growing very, very fast. So when wine is declining 5%, it's going up 17% per year around the world. So it's growing, but it starts from small levels. I believe in it. I invested in 2 companies already. One which is here on the fair called Modérée. It's a French non-alc wine. Go on their booth, all 2.2 try their cuvée révolutionnaire, the Pinot and the white, but try the Sauterne, because they just released this week a Grand Cru Classé of Sauterne, Dia, with the name of the winemaker on the label. It's amazing. So we're going to get there in terms of quality, but it's not there yet.
We have a round of applause. Another question, Simon, also. Another. Thank you, Tom.
Hi. If you could just create yourself the perfect product for today's market, what would it be? Like a list of things, USPs, style, whatever it might be. What would your perfect product for you be for the market today's customer?
Oh.
If I knew that, I wouldn't be here. I would be doing that.
So anyone want to answer? What's it gonna be like? What's the?
I think it depends. Like if you want to sell that wine to, I don't think there is only one product that is gonna solve the problem. I mean, many different ones, diversity. That we talk about already. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's one single product, because when I look at how I drink wine, I'm very diverse in my choices, so I want diversity, because my mood on a certain day will be different from the next day, depending on who I am with, what I want to drink, what I'm eating, so there's no perfect choice, I think.
Yeah, I would. Apart from kidding, I think that as sommelier training sommeliers are over, I always say that a sommelier should always indicate the best wine. But the best wine is not only the wine, not only the package. You have to understand each situation for each client. So yes, the biggest diversity you have, the better. So I think that, of course, we realize, and maybe that's the trap. Sometimes when we try to innovate, the trap is trying to find something that's going to be magic, going to work, probably not going to work to anybody. So if we try to keep the authenticity and diversity, we can find for maybe Tuesday night or for somebody it's going to work. So as you find that niche you can work, and you're going to work with many people, you need many different products, or at least different ways to say it. That's what I think.
Amazing. Anyone else want to add some questions today? No?
I actually just wanted to add something.
Yeah.
I don't know if people hear me. I just wanted to call out that the quality of wine, of non-alc wine, is improving. Actually, Rachel Martin here is like an expert in this, and she's just developed a certification program to learn more about this category. So I think, responding to your question back there on information and learning, I feel like you should definitely connect with her. So I just wanted to say that for everyone.
Francis, do you want to talk about something about non-alcoholic wine?
It seems to me that in non-alcoholic wine, what's really missing is education. So it's hard for the trade to really understand these products, how to select, serve, and sell them. They don't know, and even for producers, like people who want to change and are looking for something to change, and they're looking at non-alcoholic wine. There are many different methods that you can do in grape growing, winemaking, aging, etc., that affect the quality of non-alcoholic wine after the alcohol is removed. And in my certification program, after the wine is certified, we go through all of the methods of alcohol removal, including the new emerging methods coming onto the market, such as Entre. Which is part of what he's invested in. And I disagree. I don't think that the products aren't there yet. Yes, I think they are there. They've gotten better. It takes time. It takes research, development, understanding. I invite you to go down to 2-1 and taste these products for yourself. Check out Christian Net. He's a German wine producer, also makes wine with alcohol, and he uses a system for alcohol removal called Solos, which is what I use for my wines. I'm so happy that you're open-minded, and I think that more wine producers, winemakers, maybe technology investors should also be very open-minded. So thank you.
Awesome. It was amazing this panel. Amazing to have actually a little bit about what you guys doing together as well on the non-alcoholic industry. Danny as well, we're working as well in the non-alcoholic industry. It's amazing to have all this brain together talking and innovating the industry. I just want to say thank you so much for the organizer. Thank you for you there as well, another non-alcoholic brand, Zeno Wines. Thank you so much everybody for being together today. I would like to say thank you so much to Julio, Greg, and Yoland to be part of this panel. Thank you to the Wine Tech, to actually the Wine Talk, Paul there as well, been recording these, and you'll be able to find everything online after as well. And then Audrey as well for organize everything. Thank you so much, you guys, and enjoy the rest of the wine fair. Thank you.
Thank you.